When I lost the use of my legs, I thought the hardest part of my life was behind me. That was until I met Karen, president of our HOA, proud owner of 5 cats, and a personality so sharp it could cut steel. All I wanted was to install a modest wheelchair ramp. No neon lights, no jazz hands, just wood, screws, and a chance at independence. But Karen, she treated it like I'd parked a monster truck on the lawn and revved it during Sunday service. Unapproved structure, she sniffed, handing me a fine the next morning. Violates neighborhood aesthetics. The ramp matched my house. It was safer than the cracked HOA sidewalks they never fixed. I pointed that out. She fined me again for disrespectful correspondence. By week 2, I was $600 deep in HOA penalties and just salty enough to start reading the bylaws like they were bedtime stories. That's when I found it. A clause about public easement areas not governed by HOA rules. Guess whose manicured front lawn happened to edge right up to one? I made one call to the city's transit planning office, played it cool, told them our neighborhood lacked an accessible stop, threw in a few buzzwords like equity, mobility inclusion, and Karen. The guy on the phone laughed. We've been looking for new stops anyway. Want a bench too? Why, yes. Yes, I did. By the time the city surveyors showed up with measuring tape and clipboards, Karen had sniffed trouble. She hovered like a vulture in pearls, demanding answers. They smiled, waved at my ramp, and said, ADA Compliance Initiative. You'd think she'd melt on the spot. Instead, she rallied, sent out HOA emails titled Neighborhood Under Siege, threatened legal action. I responded with a photo of the freshly installed Coming Soon Route 87 stop sign right at the edge of her begonias. She screamed at the concrete crew the next morning. I offered them donuts. And the best part? That ramp? Still there. Because if she wanted to fight over ADA law, I had a dozen advocacy groups ready to throw down. Next week, the buses arrive. The first bus rolled in at 6:05 a.m. on a Tuesday, hissing to a stop like a giant metal snake, right beside Karen's prized rose bushes. She was already out there in her robe, armed with a coffee mug and a face that said she hadn't slept since the sign went up. I waved from my porch, sipping hot cocoa with whipped cream and extra smug. The driver honked twice for no reason except that I asked him to, and then the magic happened. Commuters. Not our usual yoga pant joggers and silent Teslas. No, we got city folk. Loud, grumbling, coffee-spilling real ones. Someone dropped a breakfast burrito on Karen's grass. Another flicked a cigarette butt into her bird bath. One lady even asked if her lawn gnome was a public ashtray. Karen nearly popped a blood vessel. She marched out mid-morning to yell at the bus driver, who calmly handed her a laminated copy of the city permit. She called the police. They came, took one look, and told her the stop was legally sanctioned and outside HOA jurisdiction. She screeched something about property values and ramp tyranny. The officer gave me a wink on his way out. The next day, the city installed the bench. Not just any bench, one of those big metal ones with the anti-homeless arm dividers, bolted right into the curb next to her driveway. Karen tried to stand in front of the construction crew like she was Gandalf, yelling, "You shall not pass." Spoiler, they passed. I brought out lemonade for the workers and offered shade under my patio umbrella. Karen got sunburned and screamed about urban decay and losing the neighborhood to riffraff. Oh, and the riffraff? They love it. Teenagers started gathering there just to hang out. Someone blasted music from a Bluetooth speaker. I heard the faint sound of a rap battle erupting next to Karen's azaleas. Beautiful. She tried setting up private property signs. So the city took them down. She wrote the mayor. He sent a thank you letter to me. I framed it and hung it next to my ramp. Next week, vending machines, a solar-powered schedule board, and Karen's worst day yet. Karen called an emergency HOA meeting at 7 a.m., thinking the unholy hour would keep sane people away. It didn't. Half the neighborhood showed up in pajamas and lawn chairs, sipping coffee while Karen stood next to a whiteboard that read, Operation Take Back the Block. She pointed at photos of the bus stop like she was briefing a SWAT team. We're under attack, she said, veins bulging. This is strategic urban sabotage. I raised my hand. You're not allowed to speak. She snapped. I spoke anyway. Just wanted to let everyone know the vending machine gets installed tomorrow. City funded, ADA compliant, full of snacks. Someone clapped. I think it was Mr. Thompson from Lot 6. He loves his peanut M&Ms. Karen's jaw dropped. You're kidding. Oh, and did I mention? It talks. Solar-powered speaker. Announces the bus arrival times in 3 languages. She started hyperventilating. The next morning, the vending machine arrived. Stainless steel, refrigerated, glorious. It purred as they bolted it to the curb 2 feet from her hydrangeas. I stocked it myself. Trail mix, protein bars, sparkling water, and, just to twist the knife, those weird gluten-free cookies Karen always pretends to like. When it powered on and cheerfully announced, Route 87 arriving in 5 minutes, I nearly wept from joy. Karen, meanwhile, tried to file an injunction. The city replied with a press release celebrating community-forward infrastructure and included a quote from me. Accessibility should never be up for debate, unless it's on Karen's lawn. They printed it on flyers. Teenagers took selfies with the vending machine. One enterprising kid set up a mini DJ booth. Now there's a bus stop bash every Friday night. Karen installed motion sensor sprinklers to stop them. They wore ponchos and danced harder. Last night, she set out a raccoon trap baited with sardines, caught her own cat, and the ramp, still untouched, still legal, still beautiful. Her front lawn now smells faintly of churros and bus fumes. Neighborhood kids have started calling her house the terminal. Next week, Karen snaps, the media shows up, and I get my final, glorious revenge. Karen finally cracked. It started with a megaphone. At 5:57 a.m., just before the first bus arrived, she stormed outside in a robe and fuzzy slippers, stood on her porch, and yelled, "You are not welcome here," into a cheap plastic speaker that squealed like a dying hyena. The bus still stopped. 3 passengers stepped out. One dropped a soda can. Another complimented the vending machine. Karen shrieked like she'd been stabbed. A kid waved and called her Miss Conductor. That one nearly broke her. She started pacing her lawn like a general mid-defeat. That's when the news van showed up. Yup, Channel 6. A friend from the Veterans Network had tipped them off. Disabled vet builds accessible transit stop, gets harassed by HOA. It was beautiful. The reporter asked me how I felt. I looked dead into the camera and said, empowered. Also, I really like the snack options. Karen tried to talk to the reporter. Big mistake. The mic caught her mid-rant. These people bring trash, noise. They're touching my flowers. Back in the studio, the anchor actually laughed. The story aired with the headline, Ramp Rage When Karen Meets Public Transit. That night, someone installed fairy lights around the bench. No one claimed credit. Suddenly, the stop had ambiance. The HOA board, clearly tired of Karen's crusade, held a vote. She lost her presidency 9-1. Guess who the one vote for Karen was? Karen. I didn't run for HOA president. Too busy enjoying my cocoa and watching life roll by. Literally. A local jazz musician now plays sax at the stop on weekends. Someone started a book exchange box by the vending machine. It's become nice. Karen? She listed her house. The bus stop's still there, of course. Can't move public infrastructure. City declared it a model, accessible transit node. I got an award and a certificate with a gold seal and everything. And the ramp? Untouched. Pristine. Legal. Sometimes I catch new neighbors looking confused as they pass Karen's old lawn-turned bus haven. I just smile and say, long story. Involves a ramp, a vending machine, and one very angry woman with a megaphone. Then I roll away, slowly, just as the bus arrives.